Here we go. In just a moment, we'll be with you guys. So excited for this talk. Hello, everybody. How are you today? I have Tim Hughes here with me. We are going to be having such a fun conversation today. I'm going to shut that music off right now as soon as I find it again. See how it works? See how it works when you're live? You never know what's going to happen.
Hello, Maria. How are you doing?
I am doing so great. I am so thrilled that you are here with me, Tim.
You're welcome.
I'm so excited about this conversation. You know, last time, everybody, just so you know, I was on Tim's show. He hosts a show called Tim Talks.
It's a bit of a cliche, but
what?
The name is a bit of a cliche, but it's stuck. So
I love it. I love it. And you're all over the place as far as on all of these social media platforms. There are so many different platforms to be on. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about right now, because social selling is your jam.
It is.
But, you know, and I'm thrilled because my show here is my offering to the world, helping people empower them to use their voice out here, whether it's social media or meditation. I have meditations on the Insight Timer app and I teach groups. But here on the show, my idea is to bring people up and talk to them. And I only bring up fascinating people. By the way.
Okay, that's a high bar.
You made the cut.
I just hope I meet that the expectation you've set there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's kind of the same kind of idea as on your show, because you bring people up and it doesn't matter. You know, it's what's at the core that matters. And
it's taken me a little while. It took me a little while to work out what it was I wanted that from that. But I think it was COVID that really brought it home to me that really what it is. What I do is it's about educating.
Yes.
It's about, the way that I pitch it, and I know I would have said this to you, which is the listener or the watcher gives me 20 minutes and I'm going to give them a piece of information that they can take back to their life, their work, or whatever. Yeah. And without that exchange, I don't think it kind of works. I've been on lots of podcasts and I've been sitting there thinking, there was one podcast I was on where the first set of questions were, what were you drinking? And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't think the audience is interested in this because I'm not.
No.
Are you interested in whether I'm drinking Earl Grey tea or whatever? And so I don't do bios. I don't do I don't do a lot of the things that go in. I do run the podcast that I would expect you to do, which is to be interesting and interested. And I'm going to walk away from this knowing more than when I came in, and that's what I try and do. And I would have approached you and said, I'm looking for interesting people, which is what I say to everybody, because that for me is in a way it's a leveler, because some people won't come on because then they know they're not interesting, whereas we're going to, at least they admit it. Well, they naturally select, and you're going to come on, you're going to say some interesting things, and people are going to go, yeah, I never thought about that, or you validated or whatever it is. But it's about, we have these mediums are powerful. You know,
Yes.
here we are. I'm in London. You're in California.
Yeah.
We're able to speak over video. No worries at all. And I think that we have us people that know about this stuff have a job, which is to in effect, we're handing the baton
Yes.
to people and
Yes.
saying, you can do this. Because, you know, I know that you're very much about encouragement. And this is about a conversation to say, here are some things that you can do. This is not about, we're not talking about you're going to be Kim Kardashian
Right.
or you're not going to be Cristiano Ronaldo with 100 million followers. You're
Right.
going to be whoever you are, but you're going to be good at social, and we can, and I can do that for you. But can I tell a joke?
Wait, hold on, Tim, for just a moment,
Okay.
because you're going to laugh when I say that.
Sorry, I take over.
No. Before we started, I said, it's not about perfection. I forgot to push the record button. I'm not even kidding you. So I'm recording from right here. And you guys live on YouTube got to see it first. That part isn't going to be part of the re-release that's going to be on LinkedIn and
There's
Facebook.
This is the remix.
And by the way, if you do watch the replay later, there may be some outtakes at the end that might bring a smile. It's true. We may be having some more entertainment for you. But Tim, yes,
I'm Tim Hughes, and
yes. Timothy Hughes is here with us right now from the UK, and we are talking about changing the world. We're talking about changing the world. It really is. I'm not even kidding you. So, Tim, tell us about how excited you are about changing that world, encouraging people. That's what we're talking about.
I realized a number of years ago that this social media thing was going to change the world. And I remember I've been on Twitter now, I think, for about 12 years. Mm-hmm. And I remember telling people about it, and they go, no, it's just a fad, just as much as everybody said the internet was a fad.
Yeah.
And now what we've seen is, we are in the middle of the fourth industrial revolution, which is the move from physical to digital. And social media isn't just changing, it's the enabler. Because what social media is the conduit between the physical analog world and digital, and being able to understand it and have those skills gives you a massive competitive advantage, apart from the fact that actually already your buyers, your future employees, your employees and your investors have already transferred over to the digital world.
Right, right.
But actually having those skills, 20 years ago, having PowerPoint and Excel skills was something that you needed to learn and get. Now, obviously, kids are taught that at school. That's the way that they produce their schoolwork. But now the skill that you need is to understand social media. We talk about walking digital corridors and having digital conversations. Yes. So it's not about how do I learn to use a tool. It's not about learning to use LinkedIn or learning to use Twitter. It's about learning to be social.
Yes.
And one of the things that this podcast is about being social. You don't think about it's not about a tool. If I want to grow vegetables, I don't tell you how to use a spade or a fork. I explain how you have to put the vegetables in and plant them and water them and stuff like that. But once I've taught you how to do that, you can do that pretty much for everything. And it's about having that skill and then going on and using it in different platforms.
Absolutely. And that goes for content creators. I mean, everybody is able to create a TikTok video or what have you. And you're absolutely right. A lot of the kids, they are producing their homework. They're doing their video presentations. Obviously, with the pandemic, that has upped that whole idea. But I think at the core of all of it is be yourself, whatever platform you happen to be on, whether it's LinkedIn or Twitter or YouTube, Facebook,
And this is one of the things that people grapple with, which is that, or have been grappled with over the last few years, which is that we had our home life and we had the work life, and we wore certain clothes at home and we wore certain clothes at work. And in effect, when we put our clothes on for work, what we were doing is that we were putting on a costume. And that costume was and you see this people writing on LinkedIn, you know, I'm a results orientated, highly energetic, tenacious individual.
Right.
Now, I don't know about you, but I'm results orientated. You're results orientated. Everybody watching this, it will be probably results, or, you know, we're all tenacious. So it's meaningless. We write in this language, and we wore this suit that was work related. And of course, what happened with COVID is that our words clashed. You know, you can see my office in my house, so you can see some of the books, you can see photos on the wall and stuff. So what you do is you get a glimpse, and what we have had is a glimpse into people's personal life.
Yes.
And we understand, probably we understand Facebook, which is seen as our personal lives are playing out. But what happens is that people don't realize that actually that work and play have come together. And you know, so what in the past was, we're going to put something which is business related on LinkedIn. Now it's actually life content. It's not about business or me shaking hands with somebody with a suit on. You know, I've just been at lunch with somebody, and they've got a copy of my book, and they had a picture taken with me in the book. That's not unprofessional, but it's not business related. So content has become, as long as you're not posting things which are probably personal. There's certain things we do in our personal lives which you probably shouldn't put on social media, but pretty much everything, lifestyle content should. And actually what you're doing is that you're getting people closer to you. The more that you know, the more that you know certain things about me, the more that you walk towards me. So from a sales perspective, classic situation is, currently from a sales perspective, I don't know you, I don't like you, I don't trust you. All you're going to do if I get close to you is you're going to try and sell me something I don't want. Right. So what happens if we can transform that to actually get you in a position where you're positioned on social media, where buyers out there actually go, do you know, that person looks really interesting. I think they might better help me. I'm actually going to walk towards them and see if they can help me. And when I mean know them, I mean know them like I know that they have barbecues on at a weekend. I know that they.
Question? Yeah. Let me ask you a question about that, and let me just go back to what we were talking at.
Whatever you want, Maria.
I don't have a list of questions here. Just so you guys know.
I'll just babble on. I'll just babble on. So,
and I was giggling a little bit because I was just talking to this woman from Austria the other day, and she was saying that she loves Twitter Spaces so much. She loves being in the audience there and listening. So she's been coming to all my spaces. She's so kind. She's amazing. But she said people in Europe tend to not talk very much. I was like, I don't know. Some people do, but it's so great. I think what we were talking about before we began is I don't have questions set up. We are having a conversation here for your benefit, viewers. We are hoping you get something out of this conversation. That is why we are talking out here. We're not just talking for fun, for our own benefit. We are hoping that we're going to shift your perspective in some way, perhaps. At the beginning here, Tim, you mentioned you're here to provide information. And I want to go back to that word because I think oftentimes it's misunderstood. I think that information isn't necessarily something that you are taking notes while Tim is talking. Go buy his book to get all the details on what he's talking about. But the point of this conversation is to give you a feeling. It's to give you confidence. It's to give you encouragement and hope. And the reality is that conversations like this one right here, we are changing people. We are changing the world. It doesn't matter. So. It doesn't matter if 10 people are watching this or 500. The numbers don't matter. That's one thing that we're going to talk about right now, too, a little bit about notoriety, about being popular, about those flashy videos, trying to get attention, clickbait, stuff like that. We won't go there too much right now, but you get the idea. Be yourself. And that's what's going to attract people. to you. The thing I wanted to ask you about, Tim, is the word trust.
Yeah.
Because I saw on LinkedIn, you were having a conversation with somebody, and in prior times, it was for sales. You want to know, like, and trust somebody, right? To do business with them.
Hmm.
But out here on social media, we see so many people tell me there's no way they don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to that word because I think it's a little bit misunderstood as well. I kind of feel like trust means I trust Tim, that he's likable, that he is approachable. I'm trusting that what he's talking about is going to help me. I know he's good. He's got good stuff.
In the US, there's the sales market is probably different than it is in Europe.
Uh-huh.
The thing is in the US, there is this obsession to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And generally what it's done is it's created a very bad view about what salespeople do and who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't generally get it in Europe because the people in Europe tend to kick tires rather than anything else. So we tend to have this situation. So and a lot of it is legacy based, which is the way that people have sold since 1930, which is when advertising was invented, is that I interrupt you and then I pitch. So cold calling is I interrupt you and then I pitch. Email marketing is I interrupt you and pitch. Advertising is I interrupt you and I pitch. And then what happens is that people come to social media and they think, well, everything in the past is interruption and pitch. Therefore, on social media, I'm going to interrupt you and I'm going to pitch, which is why you get connection requests, which are pitches, or you just get a pitch straight as a connection request.
Can I add to that for a second? I think that also goes to feigning interest in someone else. You get them to start talking. And I love it what you just said. Yeah, that you get them to start talking and they think that you like them and then you interrupt them. Yeah. Like I just did.
Yeah. Absolutely. Great example. So what happens is that people come to social media and immediately interrupt and pitch. And there is actually a psychological mind condition where we actually don't like being interrupted. What happens is that we go into fight or flight. And so whatever you do when you interrupt, you're probably going to get one of two answers. One may be yes, the other one will probably be two words and one of them will be off. And so you're immediately pushing somebody into that. But there seems to be this complete obsession with what we're going to do is that we're going to that sales is a numbers game. So what we're going to do with sales is we're going to reduce the ability of our salespeople because we're going to automate so much. And what we're going to do is that we're going to throw as much mud at the wall and think it will stick. So to the point where it just becomes, people say sales is a numbers game. Right. It's like, no, a casino roulette is a numbers game. You know, if you put a bet on every single square, you're going to win.
Oh, yeah. Or for sales, it's almost like a nuisance payoff.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I'll give you $5 for your ebook, so you'll go away.
Yeah. And so what happens is that sales becomes, you know, if you look at all the research, people don't like salespeople. People avoid salespeople, and the internet is a wonderful thing to avoid salespeople. You know, why is it that people are going onto the internet and doing their own research? You know, if we say, right, let's go to Iceland for the weekend, the first thing you do is you'll get your mobile out and you'll start looking. Whatever you want to buy, you will go onto social media and you will start looking. And what you'll do is you're going to avoid all of those people that are basically trying to pitch to you and all those. I put a blog out today. This is a classic example, which is there's a lot of experts out there that say your summary title on LinkedIn should be what you do. It's a massive mistake. You should not do this. And these charlatans that keep telling you, these LinkedIn experts that keep telling you to do this, they're killing business. Why? You connect, so let's look at some of the connections that I get. I get helping, because I run a small business. So it's like, hi, so the title will be, I help CEOs lose weight and get fit. I don't want to lose weight and get fit. I'm happy as I am. So ignore. We help small businesses get with their accountancy. I already have an accountant. Ignore. Now, what you're doing is that you're appealing to my modern brain, and my modern brain understands language. My modern brain makes decisions. I like you. I don't like you. I don't want your accountancy services or whatever. If you actually approach people and you have a conversation, what you do is you appeal to my limbic brain. My limbic brain is my old brain, the brain that we had on the Serengeti, the brain that we had when we knew that we needed to have people together to talk to those people. Otherwise, we got ate by saber-toothed tigers. And what you do is you have, and this is about having a conversation by being social, by talking to each other. Now, those people may have come to me and actually said, hi, Tim, I see that you did cycling as a charity. I did some cycling as a charity, isn't it? It's great fun. You're doing a sport, plus you're giving back at the same time. Oh, yeah. And we have a conversation. And then we find that we have a number of things in common. And then they say, oh, what are you doing about your accounting services? Oh, well, actually, I've got an accountant. Well, right. Does it do, and what you're doing is that you're rather than actually being a pitch and just being ignored, what you're doing is that you're having a conversation. Yes. And the conversation is there's a tip. It's called social media, which means that you're social on media, not spam media or something like that. And so this whole thing about having conversations, this content, here's a piece of content. We've got people that are online looking for content, looking for help and advice. They're going to look at Maria and they're going to say, I like Maria, or they may look at Maria and say, I don't like Maria. Right. But if they don't like Maria, then they're never going to buy from you anyway. So you're not going to waste time talking to them. So you've qualified them out. Right, same with me. You may say he's an arrogant person from England, and I'm not going to do business with him, which is too fine. Much. Yeah, he knows, he's a know-it-all. And so what you're able to do is you're able to qualify in, but we know that that people are out there looking for insight.
That's really good advice. Yeah.
They're looking, nobody goes onto social media to say, hey, do you know, I'm going to go onto social media and look for some brochures.
Right. That's great advice for polymaths, especially if you have multiple talents. If you are selling multiple things, you're just pigeonholing yourself into one thing. If you do put it on LinkedIn,
yeah, we get up in the morning and I've got that board report to do. Oh, what am I going to do? I need to get some slides. There must be somebody out there that's written this. There's loads of people done board presentations. There must be one out there that I can basically get some ideas from and steal, and build something myself on the social media. And oh yeah, look, Tim Hughes. Oh yeah, he's on the board. Yeah. That's really useful. Do you know? Then what happens is Tim Hughes that's really useful. Next time you do Tim Hughes. Next, Tim Hughes. This Tim Hughes. Who is this Tim Hughes? And immediately what you're doing is that you by helping people, is that people go, and this is going back to your trust thing. If someone comes to you and see that you're useful, and people often think, because in the old days, trust took a long time to build. But Maria, you and I have never met.
Only on video. Yes.
On video. We've never met. We've never shaken hands. We've never hugged. We've never had a coffee together, whatever. It's only and we've done that through social media.
Yes.
Now, what we've done is that we've built up know, like, and trust, and we've built up a friendship. But the speed of that if you're a nice person, if you're providing encouragement and hope and advice, then what happens is that people go, do you know, I think Tim Hughes is a really nice person. You know, I said to you before we came on air, someone approached me. They said they'd been following me for 10 years. And they actually had taken, I don't know how, they wanted to come on my podcast, and they've been marching up and down their hallway at home, plucking up courage to basically ask, can they come on my podcast? Yeah. And they wrote me a really lovely little note. It's like, well, of course you can. And, you know, they said, you know, but the thing is that we don't know who's out there watching and listening, and you will find that there's a horrible term which is called lurkers, but you will find that there are lurkers out there. Yeah. They reckon that for the one person follower that you know, there'll be another 9 people out there that you don't know. Right. And so you're influencing a lot of people, but you will be able to build trust, and people will know, like, and trust you very, very quickly. Yeah. As long as you're doing the right things. Obviously, if you're going on social media and you're being a complete idiot, arse, then you know, you won't be liked. But if you're providing support and doing, you know, content like this is where people are going to go, I think Tim, he seems like a reasonable guy, seems to know what he's talking about. And that sometimes is enough. Because as we know, that sometimes they're going to go out and say, someone's going to say, do you know, I'm thinking about my sales team, I haven't got enough pipeline. And someone will say, have you thought about social selling? Well, I never thought about it. Do you know anything about it? He said, I saw some guy, Tim Hughes or something, on some podcast. Right. I'll look him up for you and I'll send you a link. You never know what's going to happen. Right. So I'll shut up now. Social. Because in Europe, we don't talk.
I know, right? I'll have to tell Ingrid. But I think that social media in general, years ago, right? The thing was, you teach your kids not to go on social media and not to post things that they don't want to follow them later in life. So I know I've gone through phases where I'm like, thank God there was no social media when I was in college, because who knows what would have gotten out there. But nowadays, whatever you put out there into the world is going to stick, no matter what you do.
It is.
So make sure that it's good stuff.
It is. And it's we talk about having a digital twin. So there's you in the physical world. You're walking the dog, you're feeding the cat. And then what happens is you move into digital. So you open up LinkedIn, you open up Twitter, and you're in digital. So you're using social media as the conduit to get into digital. Yes. And in effect, there is, you know, in the physical world, we want people, you know, I bought this particular pair of glasses because I thought it suited me. I didn't, you know, there was lots of sets of glasses, but this is me in the physical world because I like these glasses, and I've had them a long time, and I would hate to lose them. And that's physical, but we also need to be doing that in the digital. Now, in the old days, we kind of talk about personal brand, but I think that's, the term has become, I think kind of people are bored with it, but things have moved on.
Or technology, with the whole idea of it changing all the time too.
Yeah.
And perfect out here.
And if you think about, this isn't just about me, this is also about my company or your company. What's your company standing in the digital world? Right. So I did a blog recently about a big company. They have 300,000 employees. They have 5 million followers on LinkedIn. And when they post on LinkedIn, they only get 15 likes. Ooh. 7 of the people are internal to Deloitte. 1 person is from the marketing agency that wrote the material, and the other 7 people are basically just randoms. Now, I can assure you that those people are telling their people internally that they're killing it on social media, but they're not. They
Wow,
don't,
yeah.
here is a big company, one of the biggest companies in the world, and they clearly don't understand digital.
They need to up their likability, their
What,
exposure, their
well,
visibility.
their ability to, if their ability to get out, but, this is about, if I tell, I've not mentioned the name of my company. You probably don't even know who the name of my company is. And in a way, if I left the company, your relationship is with me, not with the company.
Right.
And so this is the thing that employers are grappling with about social media, which is I connect to you, you connect to me. I don't connect to your company.
Yeah.
So I'm actually not interested in what your company does until I'm actually a little way down the buying process and have actually decided what my requirements are and have qualified you in.
Right.
And so there's all these people coming to market saying, buy my product because it was great. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And the power is in the people.
Mm-hmm.
Digital
Power to the people.
It is. Power is in the people. It's in you. It's the power is in is in you and me.
Yeah.
And it's not about buying a new accounting system. It's about empowering the people, your employees. Right. It's about using those employees to get digital processes. Right. Because at the moment, all they have is physical processes.
Yeah. So we're going to start winding down because we have places to go and people to see.
We do.
Tim and I are going to, just for you guys on the live, because I'm going to edit this part out later. We're going to go on the Wisdom app right now. We're going to continue this conversation
I've never been
bit.
on the Wisdom app. So
exactly. I'm going to talk him through it. If you guys are not familiar with the Wisdom app, it's another social audio platform. But as we wind down this conversation, I just want to backtrack a little bit to our last conversation where it was on Tim's show. And he was talking to me about the power of social audio, which I think goes hand in tandem with what we are talking about. The energy of the human voice is so powerful. And I think that when we're talking about the physical world, like your glasses, Tim, before we got on here, I had to look at our old video to make sure I wasn't wearing the same top, right? Because the visual can be distracting sometimes, which I think is particularly powerful, especially for women, by the way, in social audio, in the platform at all, because sometimes a lot of women, if they're attractive, they don't get the same credibility and respect. They just don't. And so sometimes, and I think a lot of women are stepping up, and they have been for a long time, obviously, but I think the social audio world is opening up in a bigger way too. And I think this whole concept of social selling is changing the world. It's changing the world. Tim Hughes is changing the world, you guys. You heard it here first.
Thank you. And I'm having a bad hair day today.
So I think it's so important. We really want to encourage you. We want to, with this conversation and others like it, because I'm hoping Tim will come back another time where I'll be on his show again, because I think it's really rewarding. I think it's fun. I think it's entertaining talking to Tim and I, of course, but the value that's coming from these conversations, the value is in the encouragement that we're hoping that we're enriching your lives in some way with our perspective and our insights. So that is the goal of this conversation right here. And if you are listening on the podcast, I want to thank you so very much, because it will be distributed on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that kind of stuff, audio only. Here we are on YouTube with the video. Live, making mistakes left and right, and that's okay. That's part of being human.
It is. I and we laughed about it, and I think it's funny.
Yes.
And I do, and I we've all done it, and we'll do it again. And
yeah. So be brave. Be brave, you guys. Be brave. Be you. Don't pretend that you are somebody that you are not. It's exhausting to have to remember, what did I say yesterday? I have to say the same thing. I have to feel the same way. No, you don't. You can change all the time too. It's okay. Diversity, variety, range in human experience, human emotion, and communication. You don't have to be on stage with that mic all the time.
No.
You can be in a corner. You can be in the audience. It's okay. If you are passionate about something, reach out to Tim or I. We are happy to have people on our shows. We do get approached a lot. Tell us what it is about you, why you want to share your voice. That's the most important thing. We are looking for fascinating people like you, maybe, but it's about the personalities too. It's not just about opening a script and giving you guys a show. That's not what it's about. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Tim,
Thank you,
for
Maria.
joining me. This is
We're
so
going to go
much
on to
fun.
the
We are going to go on to wisdom, and join us there if you guys want to. Bye.
bye. You have to switch it off.
And I'm going to. We're still live. We're still live. We're